Hey, this is Jay Kumar, the Bass Blaster, and this is your Seafoam top 3 of the week in bass fishing. Number 1, do bass feel sonar? Now, I've been getting more and more reports over time about bass in certain places and certain conditions hearing, feeling, reacting to forward-facing sonar. And recently, Bassmaster Elite Series angler Gary Klaus, who also happens to own Phoenix Boats, said this on BassBlaster.rocks. I and some others are beginning to think that the fish can get conditioned to either the sound or vibration of forward-facing sonar and appear to get a little more wary over time. Now, can that happen? Can fish feel or hear sonar? According to science type people, no.
Catfish and bass, they're used to this low frequency vibration, and they only go up to about 4,000 hertz. Well, just to show you, 83 kilohertz is right about here. This is the catfish and the goldfish as far as their hearing goes. This is where the 83 kilohertz is. That's the lowest frequency on your unit typically. And the 200 kilohertz is way up here. One of the other things that they do here is they do hear the motor, the trolling motor. When you turn it on and turn it off, the vibration of the trolling motor, they are hearing. What they aren't hearing, by the way, is that clicking noise that you're hearing from your sonar. I know you don't hear the 83 and the 200 kilohertz because that's way above what we hear, but you do hear the clicking noise that sounds like someone snapping their finger. That actually is in a higher frequency than they will even hear on that.
Now, that clip was from a few years back, but technical folks still say the same thing, that sonar frequencies, transducer frequencies are too high, I think it is, for the fish or bass in this case to either hear or feel with their lateral line. Now, that may be factual for now, bearing in mind that science is always being revised, but guys who fish for a living or just fish a lot say that bass do react to sonar whether they're supposed to or not. Now, it's gotten to the point, again, in some situations, in some conditions, where guys turn off their sonar when they're fishing, all of it, and that absolutely works or helps, no matter what's supposed to be the case. So whether we're talking 2 hertz, 10,000 hertz, or Jalen hertz, whether it makes fish angry,
it took us 3 days to make that potato salad. 3 days!
Or scared, or educated,
beware the hooks.
The hooks?
Aye, the hooks. They dangle down and draw you close with their pleasing shapes and their beguiling color.
it is for sure doing something that is affecting the fish, making them smarter, it looks like. And by the way, if you think 2D sonar sounds like this, the forward-facing sonar guys think their sonar sounds like this. Man, no fish can escape those frequencies. It hurts. Number 2. Is there cheating in pro fishing? Well, check out Bassmaster Elite Series Pro Seth Feider talking about it on Dave Mercer's show.
Does cheating happen in bass tournaments?
Absolutely, to some extent. The problem is that cheaters don't feel the wrath. Talking about all circuits, not just Bassmasters. But I think that most of the cheating that happens is almost unpoliceable, and it's not happening during the day of the tournament. You know what I mean? It's with information being exchanged prior to the tournament. You know, you got some guys that kind of just look for gray areas, you know. They're trying to find loopholes, you know, they're like a good accountant. Saving you money on your taxes, but this is a kind of a different game where I think it should be more black and white. And you know what the intention of the rule is. Those guys that look for the gray area, they know the meaning behind the rule, and then they just try to look for it being worded differently, so then they can break the rule. And that's just,
man, that's interesting to hear and to think about. Now, the way I thought about it was back in the early days of bass, they were just figuring out all the rules, like what the rules should be. And we had guys, legends like Roland Martin and Hank Parker and Larry Nixon and other guys like them pushing every way they could to try and get a competitive advantage. Now, some of what they did ended up being allowed and some didn't, but it was basically all gray areas until the rules got figured out to kind of along the lines of what we know them to be today. But boats, motors, electronics, and especially the cost of being a pro fisherman is way different these days. The fishermen are different, they think differently, they have all that history to go off, so there are new gray areas that need maybe new rules. But like Seth says, the rules have to be enforceable and enforced, or they're not worth having. Now, the only thing I'll say is this, based on decades of bass fishing history, if something bad goes down, it'll get handled. Because you don't wanna just keep on breaking the rules. Number 3. Should people sell waypoints? Well, that's a real interesting question that was asked recently on the Texas Fishing Forum, which is one of the best bass fishing forums on planet Earth. And of course, there were a variety of opinions, it being a forum. But here's the thing, that has always gone on. Waypoints, which basically are spots on a map, they're digital now, but back in the old days of bassing, they were literally marked up maps that pros or aspiring pros, some of them anyway, either bought or traded for, kind of like Jawas in The Mandalorian.
Get away from it!
Or they just got them for free because these people were just part of their information network along the tournament trail. Now, over time, the top tournament trails put in no information rules because there's no way that rookies or new guys could compete with, all that free information the older guys, longer time pros were getting. And that makes a lot of sense for those trails. But what about the rest of us? If you have time to figure out a lake or two on your own, or you fished it your whole life and know it like the back of your hand, man, that's great. But not everyone is that way, so maybe they wouldn't mind shortening their learning curve with some waypoints, kind of similar to getting a guide trip on a lake they want to learn, or even watching YouTube videos, which, crazy as it sounds, didn't exist back in the day. I mean, that's a pile of free fishing information, which is why some guys on YouTube block out the scenery, because people are hole jumping. On the other side of the whole thing, if you have all these waypoints and you want to make some tackle warehouse money by selling your level B or C waypoints and somebody wants to buy them to shorten their learning curve, great. As far as I know, it's a free country and there's nothing illegal or unethical about that as long as those waypoints are yours, meaning you didn't get them from somebody else. So what's the bottom line here for us regular fishermen? To me, it's good business. That's all I got for you this week. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Seafoam. Go to BassBlaster.com or .rocks to sign up for the juicy Bass Blaster email. See you next week. God bless you.